when you're helping people through this process of decluttering and becoming a minimalist, do you have any kind of benchmarks of you should only have 4 coffee cups and you should only have 3 pairs of pants? Or is it really vary?
That's a great question. So I think it really varies. I think that minimalism looks so different for everyone else based on their lifestyle. Each person is going to have a very different experience, keep a different number of things. I think that, definitely I encourage people to keep less than they think they need because often we think we need more than we actually do, but there's no prescriptive number. And I think that's one of the misconceptions about minimalism too, is that kind of turns people off to it. They're like, well, I can only own 4 coffee mugs. That's not for me. I'm not going to be a minimalist. But really, minimalism is about making space for what matters by removing what doesn't. And so if you love coffee mugs, own 10 coffee mugs. If you have people over for coffee all the time, based on your lifestyle, you're going to want to own more coffee mugs. But then somebody else is going to not. So really, it's something that fits your lifestyle and it's about making space for what matters. And if you're counting your stuff, you're missing the point of minimalism anyway. Because a lot of it, yeah, a lot of it isn't even about your stuff. It's about living an intentional life and it's about aligning your life with your values and what matters to you and making space in your life to do that.
I think many of us remember, I don't even know how long ago it was now, the whole Marie Kondo craze, which was good. It was good. It's not like it was a bad thing. But you held something and you're like, does this bring me joy? To decide. Do you have that? Like if I'm holding a coffee mug or a vase, or what do I ask myself if I know that I should get rid of it?
Gosh, there's all types of questions you can ask yourself. Sure, you can ask if it brings you joy. That's maybe not for everybody. There's been even like really crazy questions like, if my dog would poop on this, would I keep it? Or would I clean it off and keep it? Or would I throw it in the trash? Anything like that. It's just what you want to do is realize, like, is this really serving me in this season? Is it something that's adding value to my life? Or is it detracting from it? Is it stressing me out?
What about the pieces that I bought this and never used it? I bought this and never wore
Mhm.
it.
That's for your aspirational self. There's a lot of stuff that we buy for our aspirational self. Like, I'm going to wear this someday, or I'm going to buy this guitar because I'm going to play the guitar. And then I never do. And when we keep things for the person that we think we might be, we're not living as the person we currently are. So it's distracting us from our present life. And when we think about, God too, he meets us in the present moment. And so if we're keeping all the stuff that's distracting us from the present moment, I think that it can have an effect on our spiritual lives as well. So I think it's really important to let go of that stuff that we're not currently using, that we're not currently needing, and make space for the person we are called to be.
You touched on this a little bit, but I'd love for you to kind of talk more. How can decluttering and living in a more minimalistic way get you closer to the Lord or allow you to hear him better?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in my book, I talk about how the state of our homes often reflects the state of our souls. And in the book, I've divided it into 3 sections. And so the first section looks at like laying the foundation of decluttering and decluttering the soul. So each section of the book has a part that focuses on an inner home and an outer home. The outer home would be the foundation in section 1, and the inner home is the soul. So then the journey continues through a home up to decluttering the main floor and then decluttering the heart. So you've got your inner and outer pieces. And an example of a chapter here would be decluttering your wardrobe and letting go of comparison. So there's always that inner and outer decluttering piece. Then part 3 of the book, you keep walking up, journeying through the home till you get to the upstairs. So decluttering the upstairs and decluttering the mind. An example of a chapter here would be decluttering sentimental items and letting go of fear. And so the reason I wrote the book this way is because what I realized as I was decluttering is that as I let go of unneeded physical things, I was actually curating 2 homes, an outer home and an inner home. And the first housed my possessions, but the second, the home of my soul, housed God. And we read in 1 Corinthians 6:19, Paul says that our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit. He's created an inner home within every human being. But I hadn't really thought about my inner home that much really until I started decluttering my outer home. And I started kind of asking myself, do I have space for God's presence within me? And I had this visual of my inner home and God standing at the door knocking. Could I even open that door? Or was it just filled with boxes of inner clutter like worry and comparison and fear. Could he even come in? And if he could come in, was he curled up in a corner among all the boxes, or could he move freely? And I feel like he needs to be able to move freely for us to feel the Holy Spirit's promptings within our lives and to be in tune with God in our day-to-day movements. So I think that our external environment can really serve as a lens to our inner environment. And I think it's important for listeners to think about this, not in a judgmental way, not in a shoulding way, but look around your home and just ask, what is my home environment reflecting back to me? Is it chaos? Is it distraction? Is it peace and calm? And then are those accurate descriptors of your inner home as well? And when they become accurate descriptors of your inner home, I think that's when we are able to communicate or to connect with God more.
What do you say to the person who just wants this, understands that they are overcome with stuff and they know that it's probably a problem, but they look at even starting as just so overwhelming? What do you say to them?
It is a big project if you're looking at decluttering your outer home first. And I do say, people say, well, what do you tackle first? Do you tackle your inner clutter first or your outer clutter first? I say tackle the outer clutter first because that's going to make space for you to have more time to then turn inward and do the inner work. So I would say just get started. I mean, even 15 minutes a day of decluttering, getting up a little bit earlier to declutter makes a big difference over the big picture. So there's a study that shows that when we declutter our homes, we reduce the amount of time we spend on housework by 40%. So if you're spending 10 hours a week on housework, you get 4 hours back. So you're getting a lot more time back in your daily life when you do declutter your home, and then you can use that time to do the inner work, whether that's therapy or journaling or praying or talking with a mentor. Um, there's a lot of things that we could be doing, but a lot of us feel like we don't have the time.
It is another spoke of your wellness. We talk about making time for sleep, which is the most important. We talk about making time for exercise and movement, which is second most important. You have to make time for the decluttering and the organization so that you have more of that time back. And I think it's worth repeating what Julia just said, that if you spend the time up front decluttering and learning to live with less, then those 10 hours that you might spend on housework every single week, you get 4 of them back. Imagine what God could do through you with those 4 extra hours. The way that I have done it over the years is I make a list on my phone. I'm a big list girl of like to-do list, right? But then at the bottom of my to list, I have a like projects list. Like these are the things that I want to get done. And usually there will be like, okay, organize the basement or the shed, like, or this closet or this. And I will try and I'll look in my calendar a month or two ahead and I will schedule it. And I'll be like, this is the day that I'm going to do that. This is the day that I'm going to do that. And I will tell you, it's such a payoff of feeling so good once it's accomplished.
Yeah, scheduling it is a great way to do it. And then to take that appointment seriously. So if you have kids, bring in the childcare. It's just like, a doctor's appointment. Take it as seriously as that. And if you're working within the home, can you schedule a 15-minute decluttering break in the morning or maybe over your lunch break? Can you declutter or use that time to schedule when you're going to declutter? So I think when we make it important and we look at our schedule and see when we really can do it and stick to it, we can make it happen.
Just going to point out that if someone talking to us right now has 5 children and she can find some time to do this, none of us have any excuses